That side of things, gentlemen?
I'm ready.
They are now 2-0 for the first time since 2011. They already have a league-best 10 takeaways through 2 games after totaling an NFL 13 takeaways all of last season. Those 10 takeaways have led directly to 31 points on the board, which is 2 TDs more than they've allowed through 2 weeks. Defense is legit. Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker putting in work. Stephen A., how far does Gangrene go?
I got to tell you something. I have them as my wild card going to the playoffs, and I'll stick to that. I'm still not overly impressed with the Jets' offense. I need to see more. Whether it's Chris Ivory or somebody else running with the football, they just need to do a better job. As I'm looking at this right now, I'm seeing a running game that essentially, I mean, what did they do here? You've got a running game where their leading rusher was 57 yards. It's more than 4 yards a carry in Chris Ivory, but nevertheless, I need to see more from their running game. I hope Eric Decker is healthy because he was playing well before he got hurt, but it doesn't look good, doesn't sound good. Brandon Marshall's the #1 receiver in this league. He's a stud, and what I love about him most is that he's best when the bright lights are on. He's one of those guys that the more the lights shine, the bigger the moment, the more he shows up. And so I just think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I will openly confess to you, I was very impressed with Ryan Fitzpatrick from the perspective. I didn't realize he had legs like that. You know how you watch somebody, but you're not really watching them. You're not paying attention to them. They're a journeyman. He's been on 4 different teams in the last 4 years. You're not really expecting much from him. So throughout the years when he was someplace else, whether it would be Houston, Buffalo, or what have you, you didn't really pay much attention to him. And then all of a sudden you sit back on Monday Night Football and watch this dude, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know he could do that. And that's how I looked at Ryan Fitzpatrick. I didn't know that he could run the football the way that he was running the football. So I give him a lot of credit for that. He still needs some work on the deep throws. It wasn't accurate. He was just throwing it up there, hoping that Brandon Marshall would go get it. That was a bit problematic. So on the offensive side of the ball, I still think they got a ways to go when you consider the way that the Colts were decimated in their secondary, in terms of their 4 corners being out, in terms of having somebody from the practice squad in your lineup, not really having a lethal pass rush. I just felt like the Jets left some points off the board. They should have scored. They should have scored. Much more than they ended up scoring. So I'm not overly impressed with that, but I am very impressed with Brandon Marshall. And I think, you know, this kid, Numa, you know, I like him. I liked him. I think I saw some moves. I saw some athleticism. Obviously, he only had 1 catch for 27 yards. He was targeted about 3 times.
It was a big one.
But it was a big one.
Because he's got tight end size with wide receiver.
He's got tight end size with wide receiver. Absolutely right. So I like what I'm seeing from receivers. I'm not sure about Fitzpatrick, but he can move with the ball, which I think is a big plus. And I think he'll keep the turnovers as a minimum, which is what I'm not sure about with Geno. This defense is big time. First of all, you got Revis. You got Cromartie out there, who I spoke to yesterday, and I was like, what the hell are you playing for? Why are you even playing? Stay here, sit down. You're like, man, I'm ready to go. My teammates need me. I need them. I'm going. I'm ready to go. I said, all right. But I looked at him, and I said, this guy is out there with Revis, and this dude's screen, oh, I like him a lot. And Pryor was up in there, Gilchrist at your free safety, and then Muhammad Wilkinson was all over the place. Keep in mind that you've got pressure on Andrew Luck all night long, and you didn't even have Sheldon Richardson. No. Who, by the way, the league has not reacted on the whole speeding issue where he was going 143 miles an hour in his Bentley with a 12-year-old in the back seat. They haven't even addressed that yet. The Jets, all they know is that he's out for 4 games. He could very well, who knows what could happen. So if the league doesn't address it, or they say, all right, make sure, you know, you don't let it happen again, and they move on because you're already going for 4 games. If this dude comes back after 4 games with the defense we're already seeing, I'm asking this question. How are you scoring on the Jets? I'd really, really like to know that, because they can get pressure on you and the secondary can lock you down. How are you scoring on these New York Jets? I don't know the answer to that question. So for me, when I look at the Jets, I'm very their defense is elite. Their offense is suspect. It's a question mark, but I still think they're a team to watch to make the playoffs. I'm going to stick with them as my wild card.
Are they a threat to win the conference?
I think anytime you have an elite defense, you're a threat. And I'll tell you why. Much respect to Trent Dilfer for bringing up this point. That's how he won a Super Bowl. He sat up there, you know, didn't make mistakes, wasn't spectacular, but did his job, didn't make mistakes, and left it to his defense. Can Ryan Fitzpatrick do that with a Brandon Marshall? Hopefully Eric Decker will come back with the new one and what have you. Can he do that? If they can do that, anything's possible. Anything's possible. I think the bottom line is you can't look at the Jets and say they have no chance. With a defense like that, you always have a chance.
Better than the Bills? Jets better than the Bills, Skip?
The New York Jets will go as far as Ryan Fitzpatrick takes them, and it won't be far enough. I picked the Bills to be the wild card, obviously coming out of the same division, because I think the defenses are about a dead heat between Bills and Jets, and I agree with everything you just said. But the Bills are no joke either, though Tom Brady made them look laughable. But they're no joke, and they will continue to show you that.
Okay.
But I like the Bills' weapons on offense more than I even like the Jets. And I love Brandon Marshall. But I think Ryan Fitzpatrick has maxed out so far. I think you've gotten the best of him. He will occasionally throw it to the wrong team. And I think you'll see more. What is he now? He's 4 touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
Yep.
Pretty good. He's been very good. Better than I thought he would be. He's capable of doing that because he started so many. What's he up to? I've lost track now. It's like 75 starts in the NFL.
Okay.
That's a lot of game experience. So I think they went with the right guy. I would take him over Geno just to at some point become that game manager that you need, as you talked about. But in the end, Tyrod Taylor with Sammy Watkins and LaShawn and, you know, all the rest of them, they put up 32 on Belichick's defense. That was impressive to me. They almost got back in that game. They are explosive on offense, and the Jets will never be accused of being explosive on offense.
Just to get to your point to help you out here, Ryan Fitzpatrick has 91 starts.
91 starts.
Career. He's 35, 55. And 1.
Okay. He's been with a lot of bad teams. He had a couple of nice little runs. He had a good run in Buffalo under Chan Gailey for a while. Then he got his big contract, and he didn't have such a good run.
Yep.
Okay. He's capable, but is he capable of doing it when it really matters? I'm going to give a slight edge to the Bills, and I'm going to say that the Jets just missed the playoffs. More like 9-7 to 10-6.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess for me, I just look at the New York Jets from the perspective of what is their schedule going to be, who they're playing up against. We know they've got Miami. We know they've got Buffalo. We know they have New England.
Twice.
So it's going to be twice. So it's going to be pretty tough for them to compete against
They've got a
teams.
late at Dallas on a Saturday night.
I will tell you this. They got a game coming up this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles, which we will talk about later. I kind of like the Jets. I reserve the right to change my mind, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the thought of those dudes going after Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
What you going to do
I
about
do, too.
We'll see.
You guys mentioned RG3 earlier. He's back in the news. Reports out of D.C. say RG3's not on speaking terms with Kirk Cousins. They can't even be in the same room together. He responds to the reports after the break. We'll get into it.